Well, moving on now, there are urgent calls for federal funding to address women's homelessness in this country as well, with the Unhoused campaign launched this week. To talk more on this, we're joined by Hayley Foster, who is CEO of Full Stop Australia. Good morning to you, Hayley.
Good morning. Thanks for having us.
Hayley, just talk me through this. What is Unhoused and who is involved?
Yeah, look, Unhoused is a campaign for safe homes for Australian women. It's quite simple, really. Our media have joined forces with organisations across the country, and they're reaching into women's homes and basically making this an election issue. We have a situation in this country of women's homelessness being a national crisis. On any given night, 50,000 Australian women will be facing homelessness, and most of them escaping domestic violence.
That was going to be my next question. What scenarios typically have forced these women out of their homes and onto the streets?
Yeah, the vast majority of cases, it's because home is not a safe place. We ask this question, why doesn't she just leave? But the reality is in Australia is that often, in many cases, there is nowhere for her to go. So this campaign is really about asking the federal government to finally invest in this issue, invest $7.6 billion over the next 4 years into long-term housing for Australian women. We're not going to eradicate this crisis just by changing attitudes for people in relationships in the future. We have to break the cycle, and the only way we can do that is if we make sure that women and children are safe now.
Yeah, a conversation is one thing, but it's really about the action. What would you like from the federal government? Where exactly do you want this money? Should you get this in the budget, where would you like it to go over the years?
Yeah, look, we already have a national partnership when it comes to housing and homelessness. We're just talking about increasing that given the times. We know that there's been a shadow pandemic when it comes to COVID and the experiences of women in Australia of domestic and family violence. It's escalated so much. We're looking at three quarters of women in a relationship who had experienced violence had experienced an escalation of that violence or violence and abuse for the first time. So it's really the most difficult time when it comes to tackling this crisis. And, it's really time that the government chipped in. We're talking about 16,800 homes that would be provided, and that's going to make a really big difference. At the end of the day, if we don't invest in this crisis now, we're going to have generations and generations to come of intergenerational harm and people trapped in violent abusive relationships. And I know the Australian community is just not going to tolerate that anymore.
Well, that's right. The numbers are extraordinary. Close to 50,000 Australian women homeless on any one night. It's terrible. If from a local level, for those sitting at home watching, if there is any way they can offer their support, what can they do? Where can they go?
Yeah, look, visit our media. It's also through Marie Claire. You can get involved. We want to make this an election issue. Our media are once again, they've raised the issue on coercive control, on many social issues. And because of their reach with Australian women and being in touch with what Australian women care about, this is really going to be a matter for the federal government. So really it's about getting online, going to our media and signing up to that action. But at the end of the day, what we're saying is you're going to have to vote. Go to the ballot box. We're calling for each political party to make a commitment to this. And we're asking people to vote for the political party that is going to do the most on this issue.
Hayley Foster, thank you so much for your time this morning. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having us.
And of course, if you need assistance, 1-800-RESPECT is a national hotline and telephone counselling service designed for people who have or are experiencing assault, domestic and/or family violence. You can get in touch at 1800respect.org.au or by calling the number 1-800-737-732. In the event of an emergency, of course, you should always call 000.